Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's December 5th of 2022, and I haven't accomplished very much today. Surely I did something. Um, Let me get this stuff. I finally figured out, I think, how to, I had, I've had several cell phone numbers in the past, and Google had two, and one of them was an old one. And I went in several times. I ran into places, things popped up for Google, and I would delete the one that was old. And the problem, when that one, they want to verify who I am, Google, and they would want to send a text message to my cell phone, and it always popped up two or three numbers, and they just give you the last number or something, I think, that shows, XXX, and the last number is, or something, maybe the last two numbers or something, I can't remember. And I don't know my phone number. I've got them written down, but I don't know my phone numbers. And I have one cell phone with one number. I have two cell phones, but I'm just paying for one, and so I never I never know which. But I think today I finally ran across something where Google information popped up, and then I looked in my book. Okay, this is because they have two numbers listed. So I think I finally deleted the number. So I think it's getting a little bit better with the verification. When you get a thing popping up on your cell phone and it pops up a message, and it'll ask you. It varies sometimes. It'll ask you, is this you? And you can just click, yes on the thing. And then sometimes, I imagine you get the same things. It'll pop up with like three different numbers, but then they send you a thing with one of those three numbers, and you can push on that, and that's okay. But I don't know what I've done today, but I haven't got very much accomplished. I still need to actually hook back up the wavelength, because it was hooked up in the past several times on different computer systems or whatever. And then the same thing with this other one, my other computer over here, the Chrome box. I need to get this one plugged back up. I moved my umbrella light closer over. I just hope I don't trip over it, But I moved it away from the window all the way over here, so it's up, up there. It looks like it's okay to me, except I'm getting some, I think, sort of shadows in the eye socket area or something, which I don't care. See, what else is going on? What do I need to do? Well, I do need to hook up these things and fix the... I'm recording this video just, using the camera app. There's just so many things to check. Sometime I need to go over this and take this stuff down, or just have something up there I really like this thing that I got a long time ago. This is the plaque, well, not the plaque, but this is a, on some gold cardboard or something that we sent into space to, so the aliens can find it, and then they will know about us. There was also a recording. Oops, I'm getting a shadow. Well, I bet if I switched, well, I bet I could do this. No, I can't. Okay. I learned something. I was moving my camera earlier, and the top was really, really loose on the thing. And I thought, is it broken already, But that screw, the bottom type of screw that you screw into it had come a little bit loose. So I tightened it down. Well, when I tightened that down, then I tightened it down, and I don't know where the screwdriver is, but now I can't twist it side to side or even up and down. It's got a really good, the way they built it, it's got a really good thing, like an indentation or whatever, so you can bend it way down. I think I heard, my son wasn't here, he disappeared, and I think I heard him, so I'm going to stop. I'll be back, don't touch the mouse. Okay, this is video number 2. I'm going to splice them together, but I need to identify those sometime. I don't. Sometimes I gotta, I have so much. I've mentioned this before. I have so little room here, and I have so much stuff. I have been a river unto my people. What movie is that from? With giving away, stuff that I was sent, hundreds if not thousands of items I was sent to review by companies. And then Amazon, and I did reviews, and I was surprised. I moved up quite a ways up from where, I wasn't in the top 10 or the top 100, or I'm not sure, but I did move up by the reviews that I did. I've mentioned this before, so I won't go into detail, I promise. But boom, all of a sudden, they kicked me out. They deleted all of my, I had never heard from them. They deleted all of my videos. They deleted all of my written reviews, which included, of course, a link to, because I made, I don't know how many videos that was that I made, to go along with the review. But why did I get on that subject? I don't know. Oh, by the way, I figured something out. I haven't been doing it for, well, I have in the bottom of, I think most all of my YouTube videos here, a thing saying, hey, please use my link, to go to Amazon if you purchase something. Almost nobody does it. And it's not, they're not just singling me out. It's just something, for a while, years and years ago, I thought, well, it's the internet, or before the internet, the bulletin board thing of people just don't click on links. You don't even see the links. Your brain is just, but now there's so many new people that don't know anything about bulletin board systems or the early days of computers and that type of stuff. So that's not it. It's just something else. People do not. So I'll still have something, I guess, at the bottom of my text, probably saying, hey, please use this link. But it's obvious that, you know, people aren't doing that because, okay, this is, what, December? So what, in October, November, December, you know, people start buying stuff for Christmas and all that kind of stuff. And large stores or whatever do, of course things have changed because of buying online so much, but the stores really could almost just be open, you know, say the last 3 months of the year, and they make their money then, and they can be closed the rest of, you know. Of course, then people wouldn't know about the store, you know, but you get the idea. So, but by looking at the numbers, people just are not clicking on it, and you know, it'd be so easy, but people just don't do it. It's something in the down the road a piece. At some point, they're probably going to come up, you know, some scientists are going to come up with something, and they're going to figure out what it is. In some videos that I made, if you go back long enough here and look at them, I couldn't tell you how in the world to find it. I really should have indexed everything and kept everything, and a bunch of you have told me this, you know, make a video on one subject, you know, and then index that, and don't throw multiple pieces, you know, together, because, and you're correct, but I just don't think I can do it. But I was saying back a long time ago that scientists, what they need to do is study, you know, the people like myself, liberal, you know, very liberal, left-wingers if you want to. I'm not a communist or anything like that, but of course the other side thinks that, you know, oh, you're a liberal, you're a Democrat, oh, you're a communist, you know. Well, the Republicans were really good, and of course I talked about that in the past, even on videos here, and that we needed to, you know, the left needed to call ourselves something, you know, something else. And I even mentioned some things, and then in the video, and then I said, well, wait a minute, those are the kind of things that, you know, the parliamentarian governments, you know, like the UK or whatever, that their people, you know, are called these things. That I wouldn't, you know, democratic, you know, whatever. I don't know what the solution is. But then at some point I was making videos, and I said a few times from time to time, what they need to do is, you know, study the right-wing conservative people. Study them. You know, study them, and not imprison them, you know, not dissect their brains or anything like that. Study them, and then do the same, you know. And then I said, look, do the same with the, you know, the liberals. See what it is, and if there's a pattern, or if some people are just genetically born to be a certain way. And I went on that subject quite a few times, talking about it in a little bit of detail. And then I ran across something at some point. People did that way back. I forget how far back it went. I can't remember. You know, it was in the 1800s or whatever. But studies were done by whoever do those kind of studies, psychologists, historians. I don't know who. I can't remember now. I read some of the studies. Well, I read not so much how they came up with the information, but what they discovered. And sure enough, people are genetic, but that doesn't mean that, you know, positively, if these conditions are met, that you are going to be that way. So in other words, if certain things happen and you have a certain kind of a life or whatever, that doesn't mean that you are going to turn out to be extreme right-wing, you know, like a Trump supporter, you know, that you'd be a Hitler supporter, you'd be a Trump supporter, you'd be a, you know, somebody else. And the same with being a liberal and whatever. Uh, but there is a pattern. It's and there's no point in talking to my ex-wife, but there's nobody else but my son, grown son, whatever. And so the only place I could talk about it was like on my written site, my WordPress site, or I was using the sites before, whatever was before WordPress, I used that, whatever was before that, whatever, you wouldn't believe, and some of that still exists. And nobody's interested in it. I'm not even interested in it. But that study, that I was saying, somebody could come in of it, but it was done a long time ago. And of course they found, what do you think they would find? Yeah, I think you could probably, yeah, they did find, that people, because of their DNA, because of whatever, they are going to go in this direction. Now, not always. I'm sure you can find somebody who had the worst, of this situation, but somehow managed to, go in the other direction. And so another, so let's leave Trump out of it, I guess. But the conservatives, the right-wing people, they want guns to protect themselves, protect their house. They want moats, I guess, before whatever they had with castles, all this type of stuff. And I don't think they said this in the research or whatever, but back when we were, cavemen, I know the Earth is only 10,000 years old, but you go back to the cave, and apparently, sort of, there were people in the cave, and they weren't going out unless they had to. Stay here, don't go out, and don't try this, don't meet these people. And you have some other people, hey, I wonder what's on the other side of that hill. I wonder if there's other people we could make contact with and whatever. So you have this stuff going on, some of the people die out, and things change. And so in a way we are programmed to go this certain direction. So that's sort of a reason that we shouldn't be hating each other and trying to destroy each other, because the same factors, the same pressures, the same chemical DNA stuff that was going on, it was going on all of us, but some of us just went one direction and some of us went the other direction. So but now with modern communications and the internet and all that type of stuff, now of course in the old days newspapers were vicious, like in the United States, well, everywhere, but in the United States, newspaper, rich people controlled the newspapers. Of course there was the Daily Worker, which was a communist newspaper here in the United States that was published, and there's a bunch of Americans, United States people, who are saying there was never a communist newspaper that was, yes, it was published. It might still be published. I'm not sure. There were elections for President of the United States where the Communist Party ran candidates for, office, for president and vice president. And I don't think they do that anymore. They're too expensive, you're not going to get any votes hardly. But all that, but you can't, there'll be people on the right, they'll say that never happened. And you could even show them, a history book and go to Wikipedia, whatever, look it up, Communist Party of the United States. And then I'm sure in Wikipedia's list it'll tell you for the presidential elections, whether there were, whether the Communist Party actually ran somebody and who they ran and probably how many votes they got. I'm very, liberal. And quite a few years ago, a long time ago, in Kansas City, Missouri, I went to a church that I wasn't going for the church. This church in sort of downtown Kansas City, a very liberal, maybe liberal is the wrong word, but it opened to any groups who wanted to meet. You could meet there, contact them and set up the thing, and they'd let you, use their church. And so the Green Party met there. So I went down and thought, well, I think I'm a Green Party person. And I went in there, so I'm brand new. I go in and I'm sitting there. And I didn't know who any of those people were, and they all pretty much knew each other, I think. And they were talking about the election that was coming up, and I think they were talking about the local people that they were going to run and that type of stuff. By the way, I'm not anti-gay. There again, and I've had people, there was a study that came up, more than one study, there was a study that came out. I was working then let's see, I'm thinking about where did I get people foaming at the mouth at me. But there was a study that came out that, of course, some people are just born, gay. And so I mentioned that there was a guy that he was into computers. Like at that hospital, small hospital, I was into computers. He was into computers. He was a grouchy old guy. I liked him. He liked me. But anyway, so I said, by the way, we had time to talk. It was a small hospital, wasn't busy sometimes. Sometimes it was a disaster. He was respiratory therapy, the only one, at night. And I was the only security. Well, we had 2 security officers, but, not at the same time. So we covered the midnight shift. That was it. Working security someplace where there is where you're just like the night shift, and there's no security during the daytime or evening or whatever. That sucks. And I had said that I would never do that because I'd worked many, many years ago, contract security, and the one that pops in my mind was it was at a place for retarded children, and so they had security at night, 2 of us, and well, there were a number of things, but the one, well, there was a bunch of stuff. I don't want to go into all of it. Like they had a Halloween, well, I'm going, I guess, into some of it. They had a Halloween party. Now, a bunch of these kids who were retarded, I'm sorry, I guess I'm not supposed to say retarded. I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not saying it in a negative way or anything else, so if it bothers you, go someplace else. A whole bunch of those kids seemed, to me, perfectly normal. Some of them didn't, Some of them had some problems you could see and tell. But Halloween came, and the staff set up a scary, I think the library or something like that place. And then they lined these kids up, different ages, and then they sent them into the room. And so I was at the desk out there, like in the front, thing. And these kids came out, and then they came around, and then they came to the desk. They were crying. They were terrified. So then I actually went and moved over to the outside like area so that the kids, when they came out, I was there, And I couldn't believe that these teachers, and staff and whatever would do that to kids, and especially kids that have problems. Anyway, and like I said, there was a bunch of, like I remember this one boy came up to the desk and he said that they wouldn't let him talk to his, well, I think he talked about something else with me. And then I said, well, what about your parents? And he says, well, they won't let me talk to my parents. And I said, do you know their phone number? He said, yeah. I said, call them. And of course there was a phone there, And he said, will you dial it for me? And then I realized he didn't know how to dial a telephone. I think that might have been a rotary one too, He didn't know how to dial a telephone. Then I knew, okay, but anyway, these kids really were pretty nice. Also, I would go home and tell the wife, I don't understand that place. There's something wrong. There's something wrong there. I don't understand it. Of course, she wasn't interested, I said, there's just something wrong. And I can't put my finger on what it is. And there was a lady, a doctor's, I'm guessing a PhD, and she would come in, like one of the kids, at night, there was just, as far as I know, there was just security there. There wasn't, at night, I never saw anybody, just security there for a home full of kids with problems, Now there was one kid who was, I don't know, 17 or 18 or something, and his thing, he was going around doing isometics or whatever, where you push on something and push on, and stuff, and he had muscles, whatever, and he was kind of scary. But he kind of stayed away from everybody, and But, anyway, so I came in, well, the two of us came in to take over, so the doctor could go home and the other staff go home. And when I came in, everything was locked up. The kids had, when we left, we put the keys someplace, and I guess the staff that worked there, they took the keys and, did something, and then they put the keys on the desk or whatever, and the kids came along. And the kids must have been pretty smart. They went and they locked everything up, and the play was like, and I said then, to myself, I'm never going to work a security job where you don't have security around the clock. But I ended up doing it for 9 years because they built a hospital out in little hometown. That my hometown, I could almost see where I lived from the hospital, and I loved that. That was great. But I found out. Well, one thing, I was telling the wife, something's wrong. I don't understand what it is. I wish I could understand what it is. And then, got a call from the security company. They said, don't go into, let me go back up a little bit. Like one time, wintertime, and one of the kids smashed a window out where they sleep, in the sleeping area up there, smashed a window out, and cold air was coming in like, everything. I went up and cleaned up the glass and put whatever I could up, cardboard or whatever, and up in the window or whatever. The next morning when the doctor, came in, I said, ma'am, one of the kids broke the window out up last night. It was cold air was just pouring in. And I went and put cardboard up in the window, but you might want to, have to do something about that. And she says, I don't care what they do. I don't care if there's blood coming down the stairs. Don't worry about it. And so then I went home and I said, wow, I think I know what the problem is. The problem is the lady that, is running this place. But anyway, the security company finally called and said, don't go into work. They haven't been paying us. So we're pulling security out of there. And then on the news, like the local news, right after that, appeared on the the local news that such and such. I'm not sure if they mentioned security being pulled out. I hope they wouldn't mention that and tip people off. But they said that at the place there was a mixture of retarded kids with kids who had mental problems. I guess there would be different issues, and then I told the wife, I said, oh, so that's it. And anyway, now I think I got sidetracked on, no, I think I covered the, no. Yeah, I went into the hospital and this guy that I liked, it turned out he was we'd get together at my place every 2 or 3 weeks, just him and I, and we would talk computers. He was big into computers and Linux, and I was, and then that's the first time I actually saw and held. He came over with a digital camera. I'd seen him advertised for, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000. That's when they were brand new, and he came over with one, and wow, and I got to get me, wow, I want one of those, And then he came over, and Google had just invented map, where a map, you could put in an address and you could see it, Google Earth or whatever it was. And he came over and I said to him, have you seen that? No. I said, okay, look here. And so I typed in my address, look, that's amazing. He says, yeah, that is and everything. And I said, okay, give me your address and I'll put it in. And he said, nope. And I said, no, quit kidding. Give me your address. And he wouldn't give me his address. Later I would joke with him, I think they're going to, I think if somebody goes into your place, I think they're going to find human heads in the, in the freezer or something or other. No, that's just the way he was. And I guess my father and I, but my father was an alcoholic, my mother was an alcoholic. We didn't have a normal thing, but occasionally my father and I would get into like a debate. We'd start out talking about something and disagreeing, and then we would debate it. We didn't say we were debating it, but it'd be like that. And then also, without even saying we were going to do it, one of us would just switch sides. And then the other one was, my father or I would, we would switch sides, and then we would continue we'd change sides and do. So I thought Roger was this guy's name. I guess I thought that, back, I didn't really think about it, but I guess I thought, well. But then finally, as things started to get more political in the world, finally remember on the news I saw that a study had come out, I forget, it was very detailed, that, you know, about some people, of course, they already knew that, I mean, but, you know, some people are born gay. But there was more to it than that. The study went into more, you know, things like if a woman gave birth to her firstborn was a boy, then a second baby, if that was a boy, there was, I forget what it was, it wasn't like 50% or even 25%, but there was an increased chance that the second male would be gay because the woman's body, you know, she had a baby born that was a male, and certain chemicals or, I don't know, DNA or something was, you know, produced or whatever, and so there was, you know. Now, don't think that I'm saying that it was a very low number, but it was a significant number that scientists went, wow. And then there was some other stuff like that. So when I went to work and saw Roger when we were not busy, I said, Roger, did you see the story? And he didn't see it. And then I tried to explain it to him. No. And then I said, you know, no, wait a minute. So you're saying that everybody who is gay, you know, they were born not gay, and then somebody had to convert them. And yeah, please, you know. And then finally I figured out, no, he really was, you know. And then as things got more political, it got where we couldn't talk politics, which was hard for me because a lot of these things I didn't think were political. I mean, I thought, you know, my wife, my ex-wife, she never voted in her life, and she's not really political. But if she was political, she might be right, you know, might be right wing or whatever, or at least in a certain area, because she see what would the issue be? Oh, like I, you know, was talking to her one time, I don't know when, long time ago. I don't remember the incident, but I'm sure I did. You know, smoking. And I said, you know, man, you know, it's too bad that 2 of our 4 kids smoke. Wait a minute. Yeah, 2. And then, you know, and I talked about, you know, cancer and that type of stuff. And then she, well, you know, I forget exactly what her response. It's been, I try not to even remember anything that she says because it hurts my brain. But well, she will say, well, I'm making this up. I don't remember what she says because I try not to. My grandfather lived to be 90 years old and he smoked all the time. So I tried to explain, yeah, sure, you know, some people, you know, do, but still, you know, but you can't. And all these other issues too, they come into, you know, they come into that. And I can't remember what they would be, but like, so. Anyway, I really should, that's what I grabbed this when I went over there for a second. Well, I saw it. I dropped, the room is so packed. I've got these big boxes filled with stuff. And so, and I've got stuff spread out in these boxes. There are things like this. I just happened to find this the other day. Let's see. Let me see what you can see. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, it shows up pretty good. when I got out of high school, my intention was to enlist in the Army. That's why I went to a military high school, an academy, actually. It was what they call, it was in the military thing or in the government or whatever, and all this legislation and that kind of stuff. 55C school, I believe it was. And so it was different than ROTC, at high school, maybe two times a week or 3 times a week you have a hour ROTC class or something. I don't know. I never went to a public high school or any public school other than beyond high school, But we were military, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. On Friday, half the entire day was a full dress, parade and stuff, training for half the day, and then topped off by stuff like that. So I went there because I was planning on going in the military, and I got out and went down to enlist, and I was 40 pounds under the minimum weight requirement, and they wouldn't take me. So my dad had read How to Make $1 Million in Real Estate. Now nowadays, that was a book, very popular book. They talked about it a lot. People talked about it a lot. And nowadays, if you try to have a TV show or anything, $1 million, well, I wouldn't walk across the street for that, But my dad, and what that was, buying a place that maybe, I think, I didn't read the book. He paid for me to go to real estate school and I graduated, but I think the book was, you buy a place and you fix it up a little bit with, and then you rent it out, and then you're using that rent and maybe maybe you could have a little mortgage on it or something, I don't know, to pay for another place, a bigger place, and then keep, getting pieces of real estate or something. So anyway, I graduated from real estate school, was not interested in it at all. Partially I was convinced that I was not able to, I wouldn't be able to sell anything, and that I really wouldn't be able to, also, I didn't fall into that, but that I wouldn't be able really to talk to a group, get up in front of a group and talk to a group. I didn't think I could do that. What I found out is I could actually be a pretty good salesman if I believed in the product and understood it and all that type of stuff. That was the thing. And also, like, when I was working hospital security at, like, just one of the things was at one hospital, I did the part of the orientation. New employees have to go to orientation, and then I came in and talked to them about the various codes, emergency doctor red, code gray, all this, and where parking, about where you could park and how you could get a parking. But I had no trouble with that. But a few times, if something came up and I didn't know anything about the thing, and I was supposed to, I was not good at that. But I was able to sell stuff, which I didn't know, and I was able to, talk to groups. And that reminds me, a college contacted me, and what they had college graduates already that were students there. They were teachers. And this was a long time ago. Computers were just, out. And I was doing a bulletin board system and stuff like that. And so they called and asked if I would, I'm glad that there were no videos made of that. they asked if I would go and talk to the group of teachers. And so I talked to the lady and I said, well, I'll bring such. She says, no, we've got a computer here. We've got a modem. She didn't know what a modem was. We've got the software. We've got everything. I asked her a few questions. Yeah, we've got everything. I said, great. I should have known better. I showed up, and then one of the teachers said when I came in, oh, sir, I'm so sorry. I accidentally erased the thing where you could log in or whatever. And I said, oh, that's okay. Oh, God. And it was, I don't know if it had been funny or if you'd have been crying if you'd have seen it. I'm glad there's no video of that. Because so I started talking to him a little bit, and then oh man, I grabbed a piece of chalk and went up to the chalk, in front of teachers, college teachers, and was trying to explain everything. And when I left, that lady was so sad. and but what I should have done is something like this. I should have sat down and talked about, getting my first computer and what I did with it and how I, set it up, and that's what I should have done. That would have been okay. They would have, they would have learned something, I think. But I didn't. I grabbed some chalk and tried to be a teacher, Oh my God. Something else, something else popped in my mind too that I did. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.